You don't stand a chance.
All right. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie wading into the political debate over income inequality, a real hot phrase as we move forward here. He was slamming Democrats and liberals and progressives who want a more equal distribution of income. He argues that they are pushing the country toward what he called mediocrity. Watch.
I don't think the American people want income equality. What they want is income opportunity. See, if I go to somebody right now and I say to them, I can guarantee you X dollars a year for the rest of your life, there may be some in America who would accept that. But I think most people in America would go, how do I get a little more than that? That's the spirit of this country. How do I get a little more?
How do I get a little more? Ro Khan is co-host of Roe and Roper and a contributor to the Windy City Live. And Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. How do I get a little more? Leslie, what's wrong with that?
He's back. Well, this reminds me of Chris Christie going, look at that squirrel. Please don't pay attention to what's going on with me. Chris Christie obviously has not been paying attention to what the American people want, say the polls, that the majority of Americans, that this is something that we agree on, both left and right, feel that there is a problem, a disparity in wages and income inequality. And I don't believe that it leads to mediocrity. Quite frankly, it will lead, if we continue this way, to elimination of the middle class. We can look to history for that. Look at France and look what happened to King Louis. I don't think that's a good place Americans should be, and I don't think we have the equal opportunity.
Well, regardless of his personal situation and whether or not this helps him out politically, this discussion, he seems to have returned to his roots, and it was probably pretty happy to be talking about anything but the bridge situation. But he was very focused on this issue, and I think he's right, Ro, that it will be one of the central issues as we head into the midterms. The American philosophy on this question.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Actually, when you hear what Leslie's saying right there, it really is the exact same sort of thing that you hear over and over and over and again from the left, which is this is a problem that business is bad for the worker, and it's not. Business creates jobs for the worker. That's what's going on here. And income equality is a myth. There's no way to do it. You can't enforce and structure wages at a governmental level. You can only do it on supply and demand. And if there's a lot of unskilled, untrained workers out there, they're not going to make a lot of money. What you need to do is encourage people to go to school, get training, to work hard at their job, and they will prosper. And that's really the only way to grow this economy and grow jobs. What we need are jobs, not some sort of rule that says you got to make X amount of dollars for doing job A, B, or C.
Let's listen to one more piece of this. Get your thoughts on it.
I grew up in an America that said life isn't fair, but opportunity is. And so I believe that this debate is a debate that is, at the moment, being articulated in a way that is going to drive America towards mediocrity.
Maybe that's where America wants to be, though, you argue, Leslie, because you think that this is not working, this argument, in elections, and that's proven to be the case.
Well, actually, income inequality has proven to be very successful.
That's what I'm saying. You think that the opposite of the governor's argument is working for Democrats to say, you know what, you need to give a little bit up of what you have, and you got to spread it around and give it to other people, is a political winner, in your opinion?
Yes, but it's not just that. It's not just spreading around. I would agree with some of what Rose said, but you have to have the opportunity and you have to have the jobs. These 1% in the country that are running these companies are sending their factories, are sending their workers, are sending their jobs overseas. We see it time and time again, and they do have the power to bring those jobs back to the United States. They also have the power to have these kinds of training programs to make them affordable, or to provide scholarships to make that more affordable to Americans. Today, when we look at the breakdown in the middle class and lower incomes, there is not the opportunity there. And the middle class is the majority of our nation, the backbone of our nation. And I think we'd be foolish to ignore the 99% and the majority of Americans who fall within that middle class margin.
Ro, you mentioned the fact that, I want to get this in here, that you think it's significant that this speech was given in Chicago. Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely, because this is the home of Reagan Democrats. In 1980, union members in Chicago actually started the push for Ronald Reagan. It's the first time that this state actually went red in a generation, and it led to a sweep in the industrial North of unionized conservatives, basically. People who understand that the union, although has a very important place in their lives, also cannot encourage laziness or should not encourage inefficiency. And that was a message that was very, 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 very well struck
with union members in the automotive industry and in industrial and steel and all the rest of that. And so what you see here now is I think as Christie's going right for this. He's saying, yeah, everybody talks about income equality or inequality, and really the issue is if you work hard, you will do well. And that's really at the very essence of this. And I think that's the message that will strike with most Americans.
Let me stay with you for 1 second. Do you think it's a political winner? I think this is the central biggest question when we head into the next round of elections. You know, do people want a handout? Do they want to be protected? Are they willing to take a little bit less across the board so that everybody has a more equal amount? Or do they want a little bit more, as Chris Christie says? And Leslie may be right when you look at some of these previous elections.
Well, I think there's the lofty nature of what Chris Christie was trying to say is accurate. People want to be hopeful. They actually want to work hard. I think the average American doesn't see themselves as a person who's just going to accept a handout and be happy with that. I think there's something ingrained in the American spirit that says, hey, we're going to go out and make something happen here. And he's touching on exactly that principle. And you talk to people, hard-working Americans do not like it when somebody who's not doing their job well is getting the same or better compensation than they are. And I think that's really where the divide's going to be.
We will see. It's a big, big question for America right now. Leslie, thank you very much. Ro, good to see you. We'll see you next time, guys.